Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. In this episode of Lowdown, I'm going to try and attempt to break down the recent NSA scandal that has been rocking the United States and been confusing many people who might be somewhat perplexed by what they've been witnessing from the news media. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, I'm going to start out by giving a short history of these phone tapping operations. They began in 2001 after 9/11 when the Bush administration began tapping the phone calls of suspected terrorists. These intrusive powers were granted by Congress in legislation known as the Patriot Act, which essentially loosened the restrictions on intelligence gathering within the United States and allowed the Secretary of the Treasury to more easily regulate financial transactions. There are more, but I'm not going to go into further detail on those. Under the Obama administration, a few of these provisions enacted by the Patriot Act were extended in 2010. These initially included the ability to wiretap multiple phones at the court approval, to seize records and property from suspected terrorists with the court approval, and then to permit surveillance on non-US citizens who were involved in terrorism but were not necessarily involved in a recognized organization. These were known as lone wolves. In 2011, the bill came under another extension vote in the House of Representatives, but was initially rejected. Eventually, it was passed under the name the FISA Sunsets Extension Act of 2011. Later that year, President Obama signed into law the Patriot Sunsets Extension Act of 2011, which essentially extended the previous 30 provisions that were authorized in 2010 for 4 more years. Now let's get into the current predicament involving the NSA. The scandal began innocently enough, with the various media outlets reporting that the phone calls of Verizon customers had been secretly handed over to the National Security Administration at the request of Verizon. This in itself was enough to spark a large firestorm, but was sketchy in regards to the legality due to the laws that I mentioned earlier, particularly the ability for the government to wiretap multiple phones upon gaining court approval. It wasn't until further information about the scandal unleashed through The Guardian by a man known as Edward Snowden that the whole behemoth of a controversy began to truly unfold. This whistleblower, or a person who willingly hands over potentially critical information to a country such as the United States, he disseminated it through The Guardian that is in fact the NSA had not only gathered the records of Verizon customers, but it also gathered emails, text messages, and phone conversations from various media sources such as Skype and AT&T. This man, Edward Snowden, he abandoned his home in the Hawaiian Islands just before he released the leaks that these secret collections were happening and fled to Hong Kong to escape persecution in the United States as a possible traitor. He remains in Hong Kong as of today, which is June 17, 2013. I hope that I was able to demonstrate some of the basic details involving the NSA scandal and enhance your understanding about what's happening and why. I'm not going to delve into the various opinions surrounding the scandal because that would just take too much time and it'd be too irritating in this video, but I might provide some input at a later time in another video. This might include my take on the different perspectives regarding Snowden and what his punishment should be, if any, but at this time I'm going to keep it on the lowdown. Thank you all for watching the video, and just remember, keep it cool.